Hey, everybody. I'm coming. Okay. Hey, everybody. Wow, two of them are already here. Clayton, thanks for doing. Oh, we got notes. Okay. Welcome to Rick Snider's Washington, where you get the whole story as we're watching the National College Football game, too. I know can't get enough football, it seems. Anyway, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you feel like it, hit the $ just below me on the screen that says thanks and send me money. So money on there. So we are just getting on. Everybody's coming out. I did a pop-up one yesterday. Sorry for those who didn't know it. It says real men drive tractors, by the way. So in case you're wondering what the rest of the shirt is saying. And matter of fact, let me put it up to where it should be. Man, tell I'm behind the times today. Today's last 48 hours have been nothing but work. I do have the bell. And okay. I think I've done this before sometime. Okay. All right. Now I'm back up here. I guess I should be over here. All right. That way I can see the game too. What? There's only 5 minutes left in the first quarter already? Anyway. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Yeah, Chris, a lot going on today. Let's see. There was all this Redskins madness, Commanders madness. Oh, Notre Dame's now up. That didn't take long. So we had all the Commander fever going on. They thought we were going to have a snowstorm, which didn't really come. There was a presidential inauguration today in town. It was MLK Day, which nobody seemed to even remember that one. And, and now we have a National College Championship on here. I don't have a dog in this fight, but I kind of like to see Notre Dame win, but don't really care. So the team didn't do anything today. Actually, the players come back on Wednesday. So Quinn didn't talk to us today either. He talked yesterday. And, of course, Cosme is out if you haven't heard that. So much for that. But otherwise, there's nothing new. We won't know about anything else until Wednesday. And I hope to be out at the park and do a little live stuff there. So yesterday we did a lot. Yesterday's live chat drew more than 900 people. So let's see what you guys got tonight. Hit the thumbs up button for me, if nothing else, on there. Let's see. Karush. Can Washington change their uniforms to match the old Redskins uniforms next season? They're going to do a third helmet. I know that, which will be a replica helmet of, the past throwback. That's where you may see the Indian. But as far as the uniforms, not so much there. But they always tinkering with that stuff because they want you to buy new stuff. So we'll see. Clayton, well, you said it last week, did you? Okay, more pressure on the lines. They could play tight, make mistakes, and they did. Yeah, I'm not wildly surprised that Washington beat Detroit. I knew it'd be a tough game. I didn't think they'd really, take it to them that much. But this team is just playing great right now, and their offense is almost unstoppable. So I always just wonder how much could their defense do. And at times, Detroit, sliced through. And here's my thing I always say about coaches. Coaches are dopes because if I'm beating you easy and I go down the field and I'm just slicing and dicing you up, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to put my foot on your neck till I choke you out until you make me stop. But they don't do that. They're like, okay, now that worked well. Let's try this because we don't want them to think we can do that again. Now, if you can keep throwing a ball like that and going down the field, keep doing it till you kill the other guy. And coaches don't do that because they want to look like they have a big game plan. Hey, man, Lombardi had 3 plays: sweep left, sweep right, and up the middle. And then you had to stop them, and most people couldn't. Well, today's guys, they figure I work 100 hours a week. I should be a mad scientist. No, dude, don't overthink it. And I think that's what Detroit did at times. They overthought it. I've seen other teams, and I think the Washington outcoached them on this kind of stuff because Washington kind of does what it can do well. So I'm not saying Detroit blew it on the coaching end, but Washington definitely outcoached them. So now, listen, back in November, we all kind of thought the same thing, which was, hey, they get to the playoffs, they can win a wild card game. Now they've won 2, which is a little surprising. But, 'cause you don't go from 4 wins to the NFC Championship in 1 year. But they are. They've won 10 more games than last year. I mean, the most they've ever won before was 6 more. So, I mean, this is unprecedented stuff. That said, I think they're going to beat Philly and they're going to the Super Bowl. Now, what to do there, I'm not sure yet, but I think, there's a real expectation now that they're going to the Super Bowl. It's not team of destiny stuff. That was like Sean Taylor kind of thing. This is just they're playing well. They're going to kick your butt and they're going to keep going. I love how the Lions fans said, "Oh, we're going to sell our tickets and use that money to go to the Super Bowl." Yeah, well, how'd that work? Well, Philly's kind of saying some of the same smack. But, tickets go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. online only. So if you want to go get tickets, go for it. And go get them and sell them to Philly fans, whatever. I mean, it's going to be good. I'm glad that it's a local game instead of being out in LA so that, more fans can get to it. I will say, if you go to Philly, you better be ready. Don't think you're going to just walk in there and be king of the walk, man. You bring your buddy with you as a wingman, so nobody hits you from behind. It's not a civil place. And if you go in there, with a chest pumped up big, you're going to find trouble. Now, see if you can handle it. I'm just telling you, that's how it really is. It really is this way. So I've known guys that are diehards who will get like an Eagles cap and throw it on their dash so nobody busts their car windows because they have DC tags, which happens. I've known the team doctor, his first time up there, it was back in the 90s, real proud, has a nice car. Team doctor parked there, it has DC tags. They cut all 4 tires up. I mean, this place is not nice. So watch yourself, okay? And if Washington wins, get out of the stadium. Don't sit there and go, because they're going to knock you out, man. I'm just warning you. All right. Okay, enough of that. Nathaniel, what do you think Dan Snider is thinking right now? I bet he's not giving this a moment's thought because narcissists never think it's about themselves. So he's probably blaming everybody else. I don't really think he's thinking about it at all. Clayton, DQ called the playoffs the second season. Yeah, I mean, but the defense had played a great game. They got 4 interceptions and a fumble return, if I remember. And still played well. Quan Martin with that pick 6 was an awesome play. Quan Martin had a tough first half of his rookie season, and since then has played really well. And there was a lot of talk early about he would be better in Forbes, but he struggled, and everybody wondered. And then, he's done great. So there's only 14 players left that came here under Rivera. I counted them today. So that's a 76% roster turnover. And I write for yardbarker.com now. So if you want to watch that, yardbarker.com, not watch it, you can read a column. I do still write some. Of course, you can go to ricksniderswashington.com. My videos are there, things like that. So, I'm still around. I'm going to decide I'm not retiring. I'm going to come back for another year, at least. We'll see. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. So it's kind of how it worked. Hey, got a lob? I guess it is some. Thanks for coming. Joel. So Joe Gibbs. Hey, Gibbs is a cool guy. I've known Gibbs 40 years, something like that. I mean, he's always been a cool guy. Tar Heel, J5 is ice. Yeah. What I really like about it is they have the veteran leadership here that can take care of a lot of things. The Wagners, the Ecklers, the Ertz. And they let Jay didn't have to be the leader per se. That's not to say he doesn't lead, but like when RG3 came, everybody looked to him. Well, here he can go under that radar. He can escape that pressure because of the veteran leadership, and he can be himself. And he's a cool guy. He's a lot like Champ Bailey, if you remember him. So that really helps JD a lot too. It keeps the pressure off of him. Let's see. Casey, Philly boot Santa Claus. Yeah, threw snowballs at him too. Scott, thanks. I wrote a story on Yard Barker today about it hit me this morning. I had to laugh. I said, hey, man, do they owe Rivera a ring? Because Rivera, remember, said, hey, if they win a Super Bowl next year, the 40 of my guys, send me my Super Bowl ring. And I thought, My hearing's not great. Maybe he said 4 and he didn't say 40. And I can count 4 guys that helped this team yesterday. Cosme, who unfortunately is now out for the rest of the season. Talk about that in a minute. With the ACL, so we'll see how long it takes him to get back. And there, I mean, there's not much. There's like 4 guys that he picked that are still around. Quan Martin, that stuff. De'Ami Brown. I don't know why I can't remember the 4th name. I forget, but Brian Robinson. But I said, maybe they have to give him a ring in some twisted thing. That's great. That's on yardbarker.com. Tario is from Gastonia. That's where my dad was from, Gastonia. So I know Gastonia from the 1960s when I would go down there to see my grandparents or grandmother and cousins and all. Fortunately, everybody's passed away. But my last relative, I have cousins, second cousins or whatever, still down there. So I love Gastonia. So, yep, Washington's back. Ninth grade was the last time you won. Well, I was already a middle-aged guy. Clayton, last week I said we had to show Ben Johnson we had the better head coaching job. Yep, I understand he took Chicago today. What I heard. Today's just been a blur. So that's what I saw on an update. Haven't heard anything about the Eagles yet, Gibbs fan. Tomorrow. I'm sorry, Wednesday. Wednesday is when you really hear who's practicing and who's on the injury report then. And if Hurts is hurt, it's not Washington's problem. Cousin's an Eagles fan is annoying. True. I got a cousin that married an Eagles fan. I love her. She's a great gal, but she's the Eagles fan through and through. And I just thought, my wife doesn't really watch a lot of sports or anything, although she turned off the Hallmark movie on Saturday night to come watch the game. And I said, well, don't worry. Those kids are going to have it rough, but the last 5 minutes of the movie, they'll get it together like every other Hallmark movie. But she's even watching, which is amazing. But I thought, I don't care if she doesn't care about it so much, but if I had a spouse who was openly rooting against my teams and yelling for theirs, that wouldn't go over very well. I don't know how you guys do it who have wives that have, are Cowboys fans or something. I couldn't do that. I just have to do a lot of yelling of shut up. All right, William, you have to stop Barkley. Well, obviously, yeah, I mean, he can't run through them. But they've done a good job a lot of times stopping guys or not making them as big as they could be. LimeWire's here tonight. How you doing? I haven't seen Steve. Are you here tonight? I know Steve's mad at me because I didn't reach out to him to tell him I was doing a pop-up yesterday. Joel, 45 yesterday, 45 championship game last year. I forgot about that, yeah. The 28 in the second quarter I recognized from the 87 Super Bowl. William, a lot of talk about all the positive change in sports media, but no one has mentioned the 70% roster turnover except me. JD is the primary reason, right? I mean, I went through every roster from, back to 1941. Did it early in the year when they did cuts and all, and they had cut 60%. 60% turnover on the roster, and that hadn't happened since 1945 when the veterans came back from World War II. Even George Allen's ramskin year was only 35%. A little bit of that is they had smaller rosters back then, so you didn't have as much turnover percentage-wise. But I have been writing that, and anybody else you hear say it got it from me. Ta-da! Listen, people steal my stuff all the time for over the years. Whatever. Christopher, fan for 50 plus years. There you go. I've been watching since 69. Now I'm a reporter and a columnist. It's a little different, but 69. So I got you by 5 years. How much of a role do you think a healthy Lattimore played for the DBs and 5 interceptions? Christopher, definitely, I thought he played a much better game. I think he was third in tackles. I saw some really nice plays there. I think it definitely helped because if they had, who covering people, and they got easy completion, so they didn't get that. The pass rush didn't hit them too much, but they were around the golf enough to force some mistakes too. And the defense backs, did a decent job. Scotty, who would be on your all-time Redskins Commanders Mount Rushmore? Off the top of my head, because I don't do that very well, Sonny, Ball, Green, and Riggo. I think that's pretty much my 4. Bobby Mitchell will be the 5th. There you go. I did that. Boy, that even surprised me coming out of my mouth. Okay. Clayton, Cosme out, next man up. Trent Scott didn't miss a beat. I agree with that. He had a good game, much better than you thought, because he hasn't played that well this year. My thought is, well, Quinn said they have to look at the matchups to see who they use at right guard. I think you probably keep Scott there since he played decent, because if you otherwise, your only other thing really to do is to move Wiley over from right tackle to guard and put Lucas at right tackle. But then you've changed 2 guys on your line. And Marty Schottenheimer always used to preach about just don't make 2 mistakes into 1. So that's why it's there. Naturally, Nick, do I think the games have been rigged? No. Too many people. Basketball, maybe you could do that because you have so many few people. But I don't not and then refs too. Basketball, you got 3. How many is in football? I've never even counted, but like 6 or 8. So I don't think so. But that's what gambling does. It leaves that question in people's minds. Liverpool, is there any mock Myers on it? I have no idea what that is. Okay. William Branson, 71. There you go. That's a 50-year. Naturally, Nick, if you're from the 19 whatever, the young kids today now say you're from the last century. Yeah. My grandkid said, you were in the last century? You were in the 20th century? Good Lord. But we are 25 years in now, to the next one. That's still weird. I used to have a publishing company called 20th Century Online Publishing. I had to change it to 21st Century, and then I had to close it. But Sexy Rexy, yeah, I like Sexy Rexy. Nice guy. Couldn't play football, but he was a nice guy. Joel, prediction for Eagles Washington game. I'm going to go Washington to win. I think it's going to be I forget what the over-under was. It's around 50 or so. I noticed, too, the advanced lines for the Super Bowl, if Washington makes it, they are 4-point dogs to Kansas City and 4.5 to Buffalo if they get there. So expect that. Who's going to win Kansas City, Buffalo? I'd like to say Buffalo, but, they're going to have to beat Kansas City, the refs, and the NFL, and Taylor Swift. It's a lot of people to beat. Let's see. I don't know what the weather's going to be, Hector. I think it's supposed to be in the 40s, though, what I last saw. And, Washington's a couple hours south of Philly. So I'm not exactly sure yet, but it won't be like the snow game or anything. It's cold here this week. Next few days are going to be like high of 20. And then we get back to normal winter temperatures when we're in the 40s. I was out shoveling last night. It was freezing, that wind. God, it lobs. My dad was a fan and grew me into it, which is how it's supposed to work. Even if you're still a newbie, but that's how it's supposed to work. To my grandsons, they're Washington fans. One of them was talking about Ravens. I'm like, screw Ravens. You're a Washington fan over them. That's how it's going to be. Well, I wish nothing against the Ravens. Tario, where's Diami Brown come out of the way? Yeah, 11. I think it was 11 catches in the 2 games and a touchdown. How much money has Diami Brown made in the last 2 weeks? Quite a bit. He would have been signing a basic contract. Now he's got some money. Let's see. Yeah, Washington Buffalo, Charles. I covered that game in 91, so that would be kind of cool. But I hope for the same outcome. Kind of feel bad for Buffalo losing again, but not my problem. Just like Detroit fans, you're so sad. Not my problem. I got problems of my own. They got theirs. Do I think the refs been calling a favorable game for the Chiefs in the playoffs? Naturally, yeah, because you're not allowed to hit the quarterback. I mean, it's not quite like Brady. You hit Brady, the refs pretty much make you forfeit the game. And Ohio State just scored, so it's going to be tied up. Hitting Brady means you forfeit the game and somebody goes to jail. It's not quite that bad on Mahomes. But the league protects its great quarterbacks because that's the money. Got to protect the money. Citrus, what changes in the secretary? Well, none right now. In the offseason, You probably bring in another corner, replace Benjamin St. Juice, get another corner. But with Lattimore, you kind of address that need to a degree. Clayton, 91 rematch. That was a long shot, but looking decent. Yeah, I agree. I can't believe Washington's still in and Baltimore's out. And Baltimore, I thought, was a really good team. Of course, they got a bad break at the end. When you look back on this season, we'll say, well, Washington and Baltimore were both 12-5, and Washington went to the NFC Championship, and Baltimore didn't go to theirs. So they had the better year. Wow, that's surprising to say. Christopher, I must ask, do I remember the DL player used to be called the human forklift? Yeah. Okay. Now, because you asked, I won't remember his name. I can see him. I can touch him. But I can't say his name. Who is it out there that knows who the forklift was? That dude was so strong, it was unbelievable. He had a son that was around too. Do I think they'll activate KJ Osborne, Chris? No, not at this point. Not unless somebody pulls up lame in practice. You haven't used them till now. Not going. This isn't the time to make changes. Scotty G, high of 20. Is that what they're calling it? Oh, today. Okay, yeah, today sucked. Mr. Cool is here. All right, the Lions scored 31 after 3 interceptions and a fumble recovery. Yeah, well, I'm not too worried about that. Rich, the Commanders don't turn the ball over, which, yeah, it's true. They really have done well this year. Yeah, Barkley will get his numbers probably, but Washington defense seems to do better in the second half, which is a credit to the defensive coordinator, John Witt. That's what great teams do. Clayton, Eckler and B-Rob both healthy. Well, I think B-Rob healthy is a relative term, but I think he had, 77 yards yesterday or Saturday, so he must be feeling a little better. Needs a little more blocking. How Terry McLaurin split defenders on that one long run of his, no idea. You look at it from different angles and go, how did he even get through them, much less not touched by them? McLaurin has just such great after-catch speed. People don't realize it. William Thorpe, Louisville will get fined for his hit. Yeah, absolutely, man. That was a chin music shot. He's getting I don't know how much they can do it, but whatever the max is, he's getting it. Jane's using the virtual reality headsets. Yeah, he's done them, Mike. He does them like first thing in the morning. He'll go through everything on those VR headsets. Won't be long before you get to watch those in live games. Just wait. Jumpy Gathers. There you go, John Clark. Jumpy Gathers is a forklift. I don't know. And William Thorpe came in right behind it. Mike H. third. So gold to John, silver to William, and bronze to Mike. Thank you very much. I'm bad about stuff like that. And Christopher, you're on the podium, but no medal. And for saying it too. And Joel got in there too. Yeah, he was a beast. He really was. Good out. What are your thoughts on Washington will bring back the Redskins name? No, not happening. More they win, the less you're going to see it. Might see the logo show up somewhere, but that name's not coming back. I know today's events politically make us believe that anything can happen and coming on back, but I don't think so. From what I understand, the owners, in a way, wish they would, but they're not willing to really go what it's going to do here. So, wow, caught up to you guys. So, 823, we're a third of the way through. This is the part where I beg for money. If you see the dollar sign underneath me here, you can always donate that way, or you can donate through PayPal or Venmo directly. That way I get it all. And I always appreciate it. Let's see, here it goes. Just put it up. And I do appreciate it because, hey, this is content. I've been working nonstop for about 48 hours, except for sleeping. And we do this so that you guys get something special, somebody inside to help you understand what's going on. I love doing it with you guys, but it is an extra hour of my day at the end of a couple of long days. So we're going to keep doing the Monday night show through the Super Bowl, and then I got to take a break because I haven't done it. I've done every Monday since July. So I always appreciate when people throw a tip. I heard tips aren't going to be taxed anymore. Great. We'll see if that happens. But, I tour guide too in town. So my tours will be $1 and you can tip me a couple hundred. That's bad karma. The IRS will come get you. Play games like that. But I do appreciate anybody that throws some money on here. Let's just say we all remember who helps each other out. If you're just cheaper than hell and you don't want to do any of that, hit the thumbs up button. If nothing else, it costs free, and the algorithm likes it. So I do appreciate that. William won't get to use full on throwback units next year. Okay. I will say the success that Washington has had too, besides primetime games more next year, I really think they'll get that Madrid game in Spain against Miami. They do play Miami on the road. And, now they're a marquee name again. I think the NFL will put them in that game. They don't fit on any of the other European games. So, hey, that'd be cool. Madrid, if you can't go, 9:30 a.m. game. I'm all for that after all these 8 o'clock night games. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on. Greg, how can the Commanders stop the run putting Deron Payne on the outside? Yeah, it did work some. I mean, Deron badly dislocated his finger, and I don't know how much that made a difference. He does take up a couple blockers, and that's something that you do want. You don't see it on the stat sheet, but he's helping loosen up a hole there somewhere. Roy, phenomenal season by the Burgundy and Gold. Absolutely. And even sweeter to get to the game before Dallas does. Yeah. Dallas, what did I see? Brian Schottenheimer, maybe the coach in Dallas. Brian Schottenheimer was Marty's son and was an assistant coach in Washington for that year. Met him then. He was, I don't know, in his 20s. Good kid, smart, another one of those coaches' sons. So I don't know if he gets the Dallas job or not, but tell you the truth, he'd be worth a shot for them. Let's see. Joel, predict Washington will play 3-4 night games next year. Yeah, absolutely. And probably the Thanksgiving game at Dallas. And hopefully not the Christmas game or something that they're doing now. I don't work Christmas. Christmas and Easter, God's days. Not doing that. Do I think Commanders can win the division next year? Good out. It's going to be, I don't know, maybe. I mean, they'll be right there with Philly, I guess, but the schedule's going to get hard next year, playing a lot of better teams. But, hey, didn't think they'd do well this year. So I give Quinn a lot of credit, man. I watched Quinn all season trying to figure out, what's this guy really about as a coach. And, he speaks. What I found is he does speak in the jargon of the 20-something-year-olds now, and it's more positive talk. I mean, at my age, coach yelled at you, told you to do it, smacked you upside the head, and you went and did it. You don't do that anymore. People don't respond to that kind of thing anymore. And I know that I work with younger editors, people that I literally could sit here and say, hey, William, thank you so much for that. I could yell at my editors, listen, boy, I've been doing this longer than you've been alive. I could, but if you do that, you don't get any respect back. So you got to respect the young people in their game to succeed. And Quinn is doing that with the players. I really think Quinn should write a book about how to manage the younger generation because he's done a great job with it. And I think that's one of the secrets of success on there. Mike, watched all day at the inauguration. Big fan of Barron's. Boy, that kid's tall, isn't he? I mean, because Trump's like 6'2", and he's taller than his dad. He must be at least 6'4". Yeah, it's funny. The first lady with that hat, I put up it on my Twitter and my RickSnidersWashington.com pictures. That hat is the same hat that Alice Roosevelt used to wear. She was the daughter of Teddy Roosevelt. And she wore this big wide brim hat. And she said, you go on my Twitter, you can see them. And she said, Alice Roosevelt said, I wear this hat so that rogue elephant of a man, LBJ, can't kiss me. Well, we noticed that Trump didn't get to kiss Melania because he couldn't reach in past that hat. It's just funny. This is 60 years of difference here. And here's that hat back like that. It was just funny. Clayton, Ertz and Sirianni verbal exchange. I hadn't thought about that. But yeah, the last game. Yeah, I mean, Ertz can get fired up. He's like a Brian Mitchell. But Sirianni is the coach and the older man and should not be a smart ass like that. So I blame that on Sirianni. Johnny Newton's been quiet lately. Yeah, John, I admit it. I don't know of any physical reasons for that. Christopher, Of course, they get the game in Spain. Yeah. Have you looked at the unis colors of Washington and the colors of Spain? Well, I hadn't really thought of that, but okay, that's a good question. I really can't say I've sit here and think about the Spanish flag, but okay, sure, why not? I hear that Spain's a great country to visit. I haven't been there yet. Next fall, I'm going to be hopefully in Central Europe. And I'm not going to be at every game next year. I'm getting old, 65, and want to go do some things in life. Going to Hawaii soon. But I booked my Hawaii trip in November for February. My wife said, "What's going early February?" I said, No, let's wait 10 days till after the Super Bowl. She's like, "Why?" I said, "Because if I book this trip in early February, they're going to go to the Super Bowl. So I'd rather they go to, I don't want to miss that. So if they get to the Super Bowl, I've still got plenty of time to finish up stuff before we go. So don't say I didn't think about them doing this. I booked the whole trip that way. Doing LA and Seattle too. Going to be on the West Coast for a couple of weeks. Just trying to have some fun again. Didn't travel a lot during COVID. So just taking a glance over the screen. Ohio State, Notre Dame, tied 7-7. There you go. All right. Do you think Cliff will leave? Go that. No, don't think so in the end. I mean, you never know, somebody's going to offer him something crazy, but no. I had somebody today offer me, about doing a book on this season. And I said no, because I did just have other things I want to do. I've written 10 books, several on this team. I think it would be an interesting book if you did it, but I only have so much time in my life now. So now, if this publisher comes back to me and says, "Okay, but I'll give you this much more," then I'll take it. But I don't think he will. But so if somebody offers Cliff crazy money, maybe he'll do that. But you guys don't read books anymore. You listen to me talk. So I'm not doing it. I think I gave it a thought, and I think it'd be an interesting book, but I deep dive into some areas of this team, to me, about chemistry, how they work together, how Quinn got himself a team of rivals as coaches, harkening back to what Abraham Lincoln did with his cabinet. I'm a tour guide in DC. I do a lot of history tours, take a lot of Commanders fans. If you come to DC, we can do this. You go to my website, ricksniderswashington.com. We can talk about it. But Abraham Lincoln had to beat 4 guys to be a Republican nominee for president. They all hated him. But what he did was then turn around and make them all cabinet members when he became president, and they became his closest allies. So a team of rivals was winning. Quinn did the same thing. He got several head coaches like Cliff. He wasn't afraid of that. Guys that he hadn't worked with. That's unusual in the NFL. Usually a head coach at least knows 2/3 of the staff well. Quinn he of course did bring some people like Witt, but he wasn't afraid to go get new ideas. It took this staff a little while to figure each other out, but yeah. Clayton, if I send you a few bucks on PayPal, will that get to me? Yes, it will. So I didn't bring it up, but since you bring it up, since today's inauguration day, I did write a book last year, Presidential Pours, $15 signed and shipped. So good deal, because the shipping's $5. So I make basically $5, but you can go to my Venmo or PayPal. Make sure you just write your address down on it too. And if you do it tonight, I'll have it in the mail tomorrow with some other people that order books. So Presidential Pour, it's got all the, hey, we reelected a president. He's already in the book. So I don't have to change the book. Let's see. Hey, look. Yep, there it is. It's in the back of the book, whether you like them or not. His preferred drink was Diet Coke. His father was an alcoholic, or whatever. His father drank a lot. And his brother was an alcoholic. So Trump always stayed away from alcohol. I laugh. His quote was, "Can you imagine me drunk?" So he stayed away from it. Biden did too. There were 2 sober presidents in a row, and George W. Going back. So, but in the old days, these dudes used to drink. Colonial ancestors drank roughly 3 times the alcohol we drink today. Some of it's because they didn't trust the water. George Washington, that dude could drink any of us under a table. So, And I have his whiskey out. I was at Mount Vernon last week. The whiskey's out again. If you go to mountvernon.org, you can order George Washington's whiskey. They make it from the same recipe, same kind of still. A little pricey, but it's George Washington's whiskey. So go for it. If you mention me, though, you can get a free glass of water or a dirty look, or probably both. So anyway, Clayton, hopefully that answers your question there. S.H. Denny, there's something very smart and very psychological about always trying to go for it on fourth down with the rookie quarterback. It's a little scary sometimes, isn't it? And it doesn't always work. But teams have been sealing the edge a lot more on Washington in recent weeks to keep Daniels inside more. But Washington did a little better with it this past week. Clayton, I agree. Yeah, just doing that direct works for me, man. Adrian, anytime, anybody, anywhere. I can always never get the right order of that. Confidence builds chemistry, absolutely. And they've learned to play 60 minutes because they can steal the games at the end and beat people. Didn't have to do it this time. Sunday's game scored 35-21 and off the Super Bowl. That's not a bad score. I hadn't thought about the score yet, but, I think they'll get 30. Maybe Philly will be 27. Not sure yet. I got to pick it. Stay tuned. Of course, David, late joining. David, where have you been? I've been waiting this whole time. What's my take on the Eagles this weekend? So we were just talking about that. I think to beat the Eagles, I'm going to say 30-27. Ain't going to be easy. Never is, but that's okay. Style points don't matter. So I think they'll get to the Super Bowl, and then I don't know. I have to think about that one at a time. But I think they can. And why not? You just beat supposedly the best team in the football in Detroit. So, why not? Why not at this point? Godat, hate getting heart attacks every week. I had one 20-some years ago. They're not very good. Not much fun. So I always laugh. I'm offended by people's language because I suffer from I had a massive heart attack at Redskin Park in 2002. Almost died right there. I had the kind that kills 19 of 20 men. I don't care when people say this kind of thing. So, I was lucky I survived. So, had to have open heart, all that jazz. But better than ever. Knock on wood. Let's see. I know you're scared of the game. Well, I mean, yeah, man. You usually you're like, okay, they lose, whatever. They win. The things mean something now, as I've been saying since 7-2. Keep your foot on the gas and see how far this can take them. And it's taken them all this way to the farthest they've been since 1991. And so go for it. Put everything you have. Markham Ham, sorry to hear about your dad. Same thing for my dad, died of a heart attack. And that's been 1989. So, it's tough when your father dies. But you keep going and you remember him. I barely go a day without thinking about my dad. He was a great guy. I didn't get to spend the time with him I would have liked. But he worked hard. He was a good guy. I got his hairline. So, whatever. He was from Gastonia, for who was out there earlier talking. I don't think he ever left it in his heart. Let's see, James. I assume if we're up 28-3, Quinn wouldn't let off a gas. Hell no. I mean, because remember that Super Bowl where he was with Atlanta and they're way up and, didn't win. So you can let off the gas when the whistle blows. All right. So anyway, not too much money flowing through here today. So let's see, it's 8:39. Every 20 minutes. Most people watch the show for 15 minutes, more or less. Some of you watch every one of it. Steve, I kind of wonder if you're not out there where you've been, because Steve never misses. So never quits early. So LimeWire, I think you know him too. I don't know. We'll see where Steve is. I'll have to check. But anyway, if you want to contribute to the cause, you can always donate money over to PayPal or Venmo. But be honest, you can buy a book for it. I mean, instead of throwing money, I don't have many left. I have like a dozen maybe. But $20, signed, sealed, delivered. 95% of this is Redskins. When they change the name, they made me change the name. We did 5 new updated chapters, and so we updated everything in the book too, and replaced 5 chapters that got old, and put 5 new in. Hey, you guys are happy. You want to see a new book on this team? You got to buy some of the old ones to prove you can buy books. It has some RFK stuff, all that things. So a lot of fun. I spent 500 hours writing this book. That's why I'm not eager to do another one. But if you like to, there's my PayPal and Venmo, $20. Make sure you put your address on it, and I will ship it off to you tomorrow. So if you don't want to do a donation, do that. If nothing else, hit the thumbs up button. Christopher, games have meaning, and this is house money. I agree with the house money thing, but still, if they lose the NFC Championship, are you just going to go, oh, it was a great year, house money? No, man, you're going to be upset. You're going to be sad because you don't get this chance very much. There's nothing that says in the next few years they get back to this. You just don't know. People get hurt. Things bad happen. I don't wish them ill, but that's the truth. So go for it now. Get that ring now. And you can send a copy to Ron Rivera, thanking him for his help. Hey, if it weren't for Rivera, they wouldn't have gotten Jaden Daniels. If they hadn't lost his last 8 games under Ron, they wouldn't have been able to draft Jaden. I should send one to Chicago too, thanking them for being stupid. VP, what impact do you think Magic Johnson's had? Nothing direct, but I mean, it's cool to see him, and the players think it's cool to see him, but they haven't won an extra game for that reason. Mike, so Charlie Casper's on the Junkies? I hadn't heard that, but I got laid off 2 weeks ago by one of 6.7, so I haven't been listening as much. Got other people to worry about. I do write for yardbarker.com. I wrote today if you want to go look at it. David, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Joel, Aaron Andrews interviewed him. Okay. My wife said, hey, that woman, she's Dancing with the Stars? Yeah, her name's Aaron Andrews. She does football. Yeah, it's been funny. My wife and I have been married 44 years. Never cared about football. Last few weeks, she's been screaming at the TV. So have a lot of people come back to this, Will I be at the game on Sunday or NRG? No, I don't get paid to travel. So listen, I've been to Philly several dozen times. So I watch on TV and right there. Honestly, covering a game, it's not much difference being live than there is being on TV. Sometimes you see more watching on TV. Mike H, Sam Cosme's out. A torn ACL. I don't know when we'll see him back. It's 6 to 9 months, maybe longer, rehab. So I wish him well. David, thanks. I don't know what was so funny what I just said, but okay. Clayton's got the book. Well, all right, appreciate it. See, there's the spoiler alert, like he says in the book. I talk about the Heisman Trophy winner. Our Heisman Trophy is modeled after a Redskins player. That's true. Let's see. Go. If Washington goes to the Super Bowl, will I go? No. Once again, I have covered Redskins in the Super Bowl, but at this point in life, nobody pays me to travel, and a Super Bowl trip will cost me probably $10,000. Well, how can I justify doing that? So been to few. I covered 5 Super Bowls, and I love doing it. I told my friend John Keim today, he's never covered one. I said, I'm really pulling for you to get to cover one in your career, because John's put in a lot of hard work. He deserves to cover a Super Bowl. Now, I laughed. I said, the best Super Bowls you cover are the ones your team isn't in, because the ones your team is in, you don't ever rest. When it's somebody else's team, you just go write a couple stories and go have fun. Not when it's your team. But still, I really am rooting for John to get a chance to do this. Have we heard anything on Hurts? No, Mike. Injury report on Wednesday. We'll hear stuff more on Wednesday. Bob, where have you been? I've been holding up the show waiting for you. All right. Bob is one of the employees around the team, past and present. So he's a big Redskin fan too, as well as working there. So I'm glad. What did you miss? Nothing. We're just talking the same stuff you text me about. Lizard, what do you think the odds are of winning the Super Bowl this year? Well, they are 6.5 to 1 according to Vegas. I happened to look at that about an hour ago. They're the long shot of the four teams, 6.5 to 1. Now, it should be more than that, but I think what the odds would have been back last summer, like 1,000 to 1, I think, something like that. Joel, RG3 spoke about how bad he had it at Washington. Kiss my. I don't think so, Robert. And I was around every day back then. I don't even want to go into that. That's a ridiculous comment, though. Alexander, forget how winning can make you so happy. Yeah, I have to admit, I've been a little happier about stuff than normal. As a reporter in the media and all, you have a sense of detachment, and it's real easy to do that when the team sucks, like it has for a long time. You don't get invested. But I do enjoy teams that I've covered winning, and wherever I've covered teams, I've covered everything in this town at some point. Winning makes people happy. Happy players and coaches are much easier to talk to after games than losing ones. So just by that, and winning teams going to the playoffs and Super Bowl, brings extra money to us. So, connect the dots. Paris, that's a bad thing to say. Burger Planet sent me. I have no idea what that is. So I guess you go to another planet and eat burgers. Tech, if they get to and win the Super Bowl, what would the parade date route be? Well, the parade would probably be later in that week. History here in this town for that is they usually start on one end of Pennsylvania Avenue and go to the other. Some of them in recent years have, they used to start up by the Capitol, but late, like the Nats one I remember, started at the end of Pennsylvania Avenue by the Willard Hotel at 15th and Penn, and they took it straight down. But they also deviate. They could go on Constitution Avenue. So one of the two. They're Constitution Avenue and Pennsylvania kind of run parallel, and they're like a block or so in between each other. So we'll see. I'll let you know when that happens. Let's see. Tech, love the team. Been a fans. I guess you're about 30 years. And now you live in Florida where you don't have to freeze your butt off. No, I get you. Come to the parade. I'm sure, when they had parades back in the old days and the season was shorter, so it was in January too. I remember one of them, it rained. I forget which one. Maybe. And still, there was like 1 million people on the parade route. 1 million people, which in the old days, we used to get crowds like that in the 60s and 70s, protests, things like that. You really would get 1 million people. So I know Washington got like 1 million one of the times. And that's a heck of a lot of people along a parade route. Let's see. Joel, Stephen A. Smith is on the bandwagon. Well, that doesn't make me happy. X's and O's of Burger Planet, whoever you people are, I don't care. Your burgers suck, probably. What's the name of the fried chicken place that you were reviewing, Alexander? Well, I did do Chaptico Market, Chaptico. It's in Southern Maryland. Best chicken, but Royal Farms just opened one near me. So I like their chicken, but I think Chaptico is probably better. Paris, whatever, do with your Burger Planet thing. Good luck with that. Brandon, thanks for everything. What a time. That's true. This is fun time. Okay. Tech was standing in the middle of rain or sleet. Yep. Let's see. Beer Daddy. Love that Tudor painting of me. Yeah. And behind. Well, the wife and I. Let's see. Yeah. There you go. Where we are. I do carry a Scottish royal title. Very much, the most minor of titles probably, but I am related to both a British and a French king, and I do carry a title of Lord, which is half step up above a trash collector. I don't know. I don't get anything for it, but we decided to do a painting one time. So, and there's the certificates underneath it. Yeah, just for fun. I heard if I fly British Air, I get better seats. James is looking for a Super Bowl win. I see it. Royal Farms, good chicken. Alexander, yeah, it's pretty good as long as it's not old. If you get it fresh, it's pretty good. Sam, thank you. I'm not Sam. Sean, thank you so much for this. Do appreciate it. So I guess this must be a Philly fan with this Burger Planet junk. There's always somebody that's an a-hole. I don't know why people have to do this. They just want to be jerks. I'm just going to put you in timeout for 24 hours. What about? There's always somebody that's a jerk. We need better background checks. I don't know what you're talking about there, Braxton. That's probably not something good. What does it matter with you people? And I mean, say something like that. It just, I just don't understand people who do things. It's okay to be happy right now if you're a fan, but don't be a jerk. See, now this guy's already gone, Kubi, whatever, has decided to change his name and still be a jerk. So, this is where I often say I'm going to bail out of the live stream if I just have jerks doing this stuff. So the rest of you can gang up on them. D4 Don, Billy's getting the belt. You're welcome to try. We'll see who wins. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's more Philly fans just coming in. You can tell the Philly fans. Yeah. So we're going to wrap this up in just a minute because enough of this BS on there. So if you've watched the show, if you got here late and you want to see the rest of the show, thank you for that. You can watch, as soon as the show's over, it recycles back on there. So see how the Philly fans are just doing stupid stuff? Wow, dude, is this how you have your life? Your life is just being a jerk? Congratulations. Go back and ask your mom for more meatloaf. Because that's just ridiculous. Yeah, here they go. So anyway, let's just pull it out. We'll end a few minutes earlier just to get rid of idiots like this. So I'm Rick Snider for Rick Snider's Washington. Thank you all for coming, except for the Philly fans. You deserve what you get. And that part I don't care about. And I'm out of here. So anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Videos in the morning and evening. Appreciate everybody who joined in. Thank you all for contributing. And I'll see you soon.